Adrian Dunbar, I'm cautioning you that you do not have to say anything, but it may harm the entertainment potential of this BBC Radio 5 live interview if you fail to mention anything even mildly entertaining when questioned. Anything you do say may be given in evidence to your agent to acquire more acting roles. Can you please confirm that you've understood your rights and that a member of the BBC One publicity team has explained to you just how annoying I can be?
Yes, they have.
Right, okay.
I listen to you on a regular basis.
That's good to know. Now, if it pleases you, Mr. Dunbar, can I cease trying to do my worst Steve Arnott impression and get into the interview, starting with this question. Adrian Dunbar, RUH.
Sorry, I think just the line dropped out. Didn't it? I think the line dropped out. I don't know what you asked there. Are you something or other? But, you know.
Do you know what? Adrian, we interview so many people from Game of Thrones, for instance, and every time it's that game that we play where we know we're never going to get the answer, but we just feel compelled to ask it anyway.
I know. Well, everybody's asking it at the moment, aren't they? Everybody wants.
Are you
to
getting
know.
it asked in the street?
Yeah, everybody. Yeah, I was I was in the dry cleaners today. The woman came in and says, "I'm not going to ask you," but of course, then they ask you. But but we Line of Duty's great because the fans are great because they actually don't want to know because they enjoy the twists and turns and watching it live. You see, that seems to be the way it goes. People come up and go, "Love the show. Don't tell me anything." That basically is.
Has their reaction changed towards you, given that we don't know if you're a goodie or a baddie right now?
No, the reaction hasn't changed really. I think they're still responding to me and kind of keeping their fingers crossed that Ted's going to be okay. I think that's the general vibe.
Are you having because last night I tweeted justice for Ted and free Ted Hastings.
Yeah.
And are people perhaps... They're so in love with you. They're so kind of invested in you.
Yeah.
People feel that they must know. What are the most common questions you get asked?
Well, people are very invested. I mean, I know there's a free TED campaign on the go at the moment, which is getting a lot of traction at the minute. Several thousand, millions of people are onto that.
Unfortunately, the episode has already been filmed, so...
Yeah, exactly. There's very little we can do about it at this point. I just think people want Ted to... I mean, I've always said that Ted is a character who's struggling to be good. He's got all these personal flaws. He believes in his rule and regs, and he believes in the rule of law. He's very old school.
Does he?
Yeah.
Oh, does he? This is the problem.
Well, that's it. I mean, it is Line of Duty. You know, not the day nor the hour. Jed Mercurio. He's killed a lot of very good actors off very quickly.
Yes.
So we're all just keeping our fingers crossed that we're going to survive maybe to the next series.
How does it work with the read through? When you get this, do you get the scripts for all the episodes or just as each episode goes?
Initially, we filmed 6 episodes filmed in 2 blocks, so we'll get the first 3 episodes sometimes. Sometimes we only get the first 2, depending on what's happening in 3, which is great in one way because what it means is that we don't preempt anything. We don't, I don't decide that, I'll be a little easier on Manit in this scene because I know she's going to die, in episode 3. You can, things like that might occur to you. But, when you don't know what's going to happen, you just play everything straight down the line, which is really useful. However, sometimes you get characters who are coming in and they have to know what's happening in 4 and 5, for example. So you'll have an actor on the set who kind of knows a little bit more than you do, which is a kind of a spooky kind of scenario when you think about it. And you might catch a twinkle in their eye when something happens. You think, oh God, that's a bit Line of Duty, Why did she react like that to that? And that's even within the show. So, it can get a bit kind of convoluted like that. But basically, we get a couple of eps. I'll take my time to read those 2 eps, but Vicky will read them really quickly on her phone. And then she'll send me a really terrible text saying, "Oh my God, you won't believe what happens to you in episode 2. So, you start freaking out and going, what the hell is that? So she winds me up.
She
winds
trolls
Martin.
you?
Yes, both myself and Martin. She thinks it's fantastic.
Do you ever read the script and go, wait, I don't know what happened to me?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. What was she talking about? But it does make
that was my wife and I last night, if I'm honest. Going, what is going on here? This is an absolute madness. Do you have a WhatsApp group?
We do, yeah.
And is Stephen Graham not on it anymore?
Stephen Graham, I don't think he was ever on our WhatsApp.
Oh,
group.
wow.
No, there's just me and Vic and Martin.
Who's the biggest joker out of the three of you then?
Oh, Vicky, I'd say.
She constantly trolling you. You've already mentioned once that she will say things like to kind of wind you up.
Yeah, she just thinks it's hilarious. I mean, it gets a bit tedious after a while, but we let her away with it.
That's a very special group. I mean, that is, you can't sit with us at lunch. Three of you, that's it.
Yeah, that's us. The three of us are there, very tight. But lots of other people do arrive in, of course. We've got another group which includes, us and Jed and everybody else. But we have to. There's certain things only we can share.
Have you ever asked Jed then on the group, how long do I last?
No, well, we all kind of know that we're all desperate to keep in Jed's good books, obviously, all the time. So we kind of flatter him all the time, tell him how great he is. Buy him curries. He loves a curry. Take him out, get him a Cobra and a Vindaloo. It's just, we'll do anything. Jed, mate, you look fantastic. All that sort of stuff. And so far, it's worked.
What would he do if you did spoil the last episode now? How long would you have to sit on the naughty step?
Oh, well, it could be years, really. He would harbour a grudge, obviously, he just, it's bad. It's bad.
Have you, Adrian, at any part tried to lobby to get yourself and Ireland's premier Elvis impersonator and you playing bass into Line of Duty?
No, I haven't lobbied for that.
It being a previous incarnation.
Yeah, that was a previous incarnation. I did play with an Elvis Presley impersonator, and I did play bass guitar with him. And I also had my own little country band, and I've had a band since. And I do a bit of.
Can't you do some jamming?
I did a gig the other night actually in Pizza Express in Holborn with John Altman and Mitch Dalton, and the place was packed. We had a great night. A woman came up and gave me an envelope with a load of bent coppers in it.
Did you get paid in cash, by the way? For that
exactly.
Night?
Yeah. Bent coppers, loads of them.
A bit of a niche question, but a few people have asked me to ask you. Do you know how to spell definitely?
Yeah.
Oh, you've really got to have watched, haven't you? Line of Duty to ask that question. Yeah,
that's an interesting one, actually. That is an interesting one. I'd love to be able to answer that.
Ooh. Okay. Sorry, that was a very high-pitched squeal by me there.
There was indeed. Loving Line of Duty, please ask Adrian, if he's like Ted, is he squeaky clean or does he ever struggle to be good, says Gillian from Edinburgh.
Gillian, how are you? Yes.
She's just loving that right now. Wow, that's a ringtone forever, Adrian. Right, go on.
We all struggle to be good, don't we? None of we're all human. We all have our frailties. That's the point about Ted, isn't it? We all want the person at the top of the gig to be able to, it's so many times in public office now we see, there are people who are, exposed as this, that, or the other, and so we've lost a bit of faith in that. So I think that's what Ted kind of restores. But I'm also always keen to say that he's not as pure as the driven snow. He has his frailties and he has his problems, and he couldn't keep his marriage together. He's no good with dough. He's not very good with women. There's quite a list of things, and there may be even some more things obviously revealed that he's not very good at.
So my husband and I, says this texter,
didn't know where that was going.
Maybe part of only a handful of... Yes, you did. Only a handful of people yet to see Line of Duty, including all the series that have gone before. So, well, this is interesting. So, following on from your constant wittering on about the series, I think we need to get on board. Should we go back to the beginning, or will we be able to catch up if we just start watching this series? Thanks from two TV recluses. Adrian?
Yeah, you can just start. It's very, you can happily start because they're all... In many ways, they're all standalone. However, the payoffs that you get by starting at the beginning and following it the whole way through are really, really good. Jed's been really thorough in the thing. For example, as everybody knows, bits of Jackie Laverty's body just showed up in a body bag with Stephen Graham's character, which that was just, how clever is that to carry that right from Ep 1? So I think the payoff that you get from Jed's writing would warrant you going back and starting and watching the first series. However, they are standalone. You could just watch this series as it goes, but I'd advise going back to the start. You've got so much, good fun to go through there.
Are you with us in a shared experience on a Sunday night at 9 p.m? Have you been watching it?
Yes, I have. I've been sitting on the sofa with my wife, Anna, and, we watch it in real time. It's that experience, I think, with, watching it live with everybody else watching it. You're just aware that it's a big collective experience, and you don't really get many of those these days. You used to get them all the time, when everybody'd be in watching Bruce Forsyth doing the Generation Game, or, stuff like that. Eric and Ernie, you'd get 18 million people watching a Christmas show. You just felt, you were part of something, even though you're watching the telly. So, I like to think that with Line of Duty a bit, that it's kind of got a bit of that going for it. I'm sure next week it'll be through the roof.
Oh, my God. Are you and Vicky and Martin WhatsApping each other while it's on?
No, there's a kind of, we don't do that. But the minute it's over, all kinds of stuff starts coming through, of course, from family and friends and, oh, my God, please, no, all that kind of stuff. And, so it gets very funny.
Does your wife know how it ends? Do you tell her?
No, I don't tell her.
No spoilers?
No, I don't.
Interesting.
Don't tell anybody anything. Then they can't, because she'll be asked all the time, of course,
But when you're back in, I've been told to say, when you're back in Skin Town.
Oh, yeah.
And perhaps, you're having a few pints.
Yeah.
Loose lips sink ships, as they say.
Oh.
Are you mindful of, how people can, sidle up to you and ask you, and you've had a few and you go, you know what, throw caution to the wind? Or do you always stay well clear of having any conversation about Line of Duty?
Yeah, I mean, you just can't. You just can't. I mean, people. But as I say, people are quite good. It's only really the odd journalist
who doesn't really want to know either. To be fair.
Who doesn't really want to know, but thinks if I did know, I'd. So some of the, I think genuinely people. Also, it's quite a complicated show, in some ways. So keeping up for your friends who are asking about whether they should see it from the start, I think they probably should see it from the start now, because there's like, the more you know about it, the more you get out of it.
You talk about, I read interviews where you talk about, going back to kind of coming out of your comfort zone, doing theatre, for instance, doing Beckett, as you've once done in Enniskillen. What is it that is the most difficult part of being Ted Hastings for you as an actor?
When it stops.
Really? Do you feel a sense of bereavement when you're not?
We just love doing it. We only have one writer, you see. If this was an American series, of course, you'd have 13 episodes and there'd be 12 or 14 writers on it. But we have Jed. So Jed, is a very busy guy. So there's gaps between it, So I miss the gang. We all miss each other, when if it's a year or 18 months between shooting the series. So that's really the difficult bit. I mean, I don't find, actors, when I talk to actors, they all know this. I mean, actors are very lucky sometimes when they hit a part where they can bring all the stuff that they know to it, if you like. And Ted has been that part for me, where I could bring all the stuff that I've been kind of working on all over the years, the bits, the pieces, the this, the that, put it all together into a character and feel an affinity with the character, and also have some wonderful writing to support that, and a writer who starts to see where I'm taking the character and runs with that. So all those things go together, and, it's just really brilliant, really.
Will it be Jed's decision to bring Ted Hastings to an end, or could you ever see a point where you would go, actually, I've gone as far as I want to go? A bit like Daniel Craig with James Bond.
It would be a bit like Daniel Craig with James Bond. Well, we really have gone somewhere now, haven't we? No, I'm not going to say let's stop doing it. It's great.
You just want to do it forever.
Well, yeah. I mean, if Jed Mercurio does not look like he at any point he's going to drop the ball and let the standard drop with Line of Duty. I mean,
quite the opposite.
Quite the opposite. So, I mean, as long as Jed, creates these incredibly fabulous Byzantine plots and wonderful characters that come in. I mean, Anna Maxwell Martin coming in now. I mean, it's just, she's come in and smashed it completely and just taken the whole thing to somewhere else, which is great. And so as long as those things keep happening and, we get fabulous actors in, I'll just do it as long as I can. Yeah, absolutely.
And what's your reaction to seeing one of your well-known catchphrases in the script? Because there's been such a sensation every single time you say "Mother of God" or "Like the Battle."
Yeah. I mean, yeah. That's taken us all by surprise. I just put those Mother of God and Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, and all of these things my father used to say, and expressions. And I just thought, well, I'll just add these things because, and now we're sucking diesel. That's one, and I've got a few more in the background that I could bring out. But then Jed started to get into various sticking the fellas in, and we started developing all those. And I believe there's actually a game where it's a drinking game in the pub, where if I say fella, you've got to drink half a pint. If I say, now you're sucking diesel, you got to get a whiskey down you, 1 piece of ice. And, and so there's fellas all over the place getting wasted on Line of Duty.
Okay. What happens if they, Adrian, if they hear this?
I didn't float up the lagoon on a bubble.
What does that even mean?
Yeah. I didn't, it's a bit like that Australian phrase, don't come the raw prawn with me, mate. You know what I mean? It's one of those phrases that just says, don't kid a kidder.
Right.
So, I didn't float up the lagoon in a bubble. Actually, that one came when we had a Q&A in Belfast, and we said to the audience, could you write down a few phrases you'd like us to say in Line of Duty? And somebody wrote down, it's a really well-known Belfast phrase, that I didn't come up the lagoon in a bubble. And so we stuck that in. I really enjoyed saying that. It was really, especially in such a serious way. It's great. It's great.
So there is a whole cache of these that you have.
Oh, yeah, there's a few. We can go even more obscure.
Give me one, please.
But we'll, I've got there's quite a few. I'm holding on to them because I don't want to let them out there. When you hear them, you'll hear them. We've got a few more. We're holding on to them, but who knows if I'll get the chance to do them.
And if you hear them out,
please, Jed, if you're listening,
yeah, please, Jed,
let him.
Please, Jed, he'll get you a curry. He'll get you 2 curries. As much cobra as you can drink.
He does love a curry and a cobra.
Right. Well, other Indian beers are available.
Well, but he's he's from Birmingham. They all fancy a curry up there.
Home of the chicken balti, no less. This is such a great role, Ted, and you are Adrian. Even I called you Ted there, didn't I?
Yeah.
Does that happen a lot? That must happen a lot, right? Or just with me. Walking out here, considering we had Kiefer Sutherland on the show today.
Oh yeah.
No one was excited as the fact you're on the show today.
Right.
There's an extraordinary energy around you. Adrian.
Yeah. I wish I could have some of it sometimes.
Do you ever look at Twitter and see what everybody's saying?
No, I don't see any of that.
Because there is a army of women who fancy you and talk about it on Twitter all through Line of Duty.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, that's something I'm not in control of.
No, quite. How does your wife bring you down to earth? They're experts at bringing us down to earth. How does she bring you down to earth?
The floor needs swept, doesn't it? And there's a whole lot of things. You got to move that. The painters are in. It's just, I'm too long in the tooth to be, not down to earth at this point.
There is a brilliant. I mean, who does your hair? We've got to ask this because this hair is unbelievably well
Right.
coiffed.
Okay. Well, I'm not telling you who does me hair.
But that is
in London, but in.
I mean, look at
because
this hair.
I want him to be my hairdresser. I know where he is. He's only about half a mile away from where we're sitting now. He's Italian.
Is it a Mr. Toppers?
He's Italian. But no, Jen does my hair on Line of Duty. If Jen's out there, I just want, she wants us to bring out some hair products, actually.
What, Hastings hair?
Hastings hair. Absolutely bang on. You got it straight away, you see. Nihal, you got it straight away, mate.
2 H's in that name.
Hastings hit. Oh, my God.
Oh, no.
Double H, hair products.
Yeah.
Adrian, it's been such a pleasure to hang out with you today. And just lastly, RUH. I thought the three of us, Scott and Hayley, we
I'm
had
just trying to see how long you can keep it going for, to be honest. Oh, it's going a bit more red.
Okay, that was Adrian
What a way to
Dunbar's
end an interview.
world record bleep attempt live on 5 Live, which someone will turn into a techno record for this summer's raves. Adrian, what a pleasure. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
joining us.
Lovely to see you all.